Everyone who writes is doing it for a reason. That might sound obvious at face value, but think about it. Whether you're reading an article in the news, a scholarly essay, or even a work of fiction, the author is trying to tell you something. While the purpose may seem blatantly obvious at first, there's usually a more subtle meaning to the words. Something that looks informative could have been written to persuade or deceive. A book that was written to entertain could also try to tell you something more meaningful in its themes and symbolism. In order to find out if what you're reading is true, or the author's true purpose, you need to do something special. Something that not a lot of people are doing when they read the news, or sit down with a book, or even when they vote. This is a very important skill that has been lost in time for many. You need to think. If you don't apply basic critical thinking skills to your daily life, to what you read on the news, to what you watch on TV, even what your parents tell you, you could be led to believe ridiculous things because you didn't take the time to really sit down and think about it. I mean, there's some people today that just blindly follow the notion that the earth is round. I mean, just because their parents tell them, just because their teacher tells them. What? You can't apply critical thinking skills? Come on! Look at the pictures! The moon landing never happened! I'm going to teach you all how to apply critical thinking skills in reading. When analyzing something that's put into writing, there are certain things you'll want to look out for. First, the author's purpose. Why did the author write this? Is it to persuade, inform, entertain, spread misinformation, overthrow a government? Many times authors have multiple reasons for putting something on paper, and identifying what they are helps you think of it from a new perspective. Another very important thing to note is bias. Everyone in this world has some sort of bias, but a news article or essay that leans too heavily on one side of an issue could be called out for it. Biases can make them untrustworthy, not giving an honest report because the author is too gripped by emotion or agenda. However, this doesn't make the article completely worthless. Looking closer at this kind of article can tell you a lot about what kind of person the writer is, and help you figure out what the author's purpose is. Next, are these facts or opinions? You need to find out whether what you're reading is true. A lot of times, someone that's trying to persuade you in writing will present opinions as if they were facts. For example, the phrase, "In the next 20 years, Americans will be able to colonize the moon," sounds like a factual statement, but it's really just an opinion. Now, if you see an opinion in an article, it doesn't mean that you should just throw away whatever you're reading. A lot of times, opinions are backed up by evidence. Evidence is what any reasonable and intelligent person uses to back up their opinions. If someone's trying to make you believe something, you should always take a hard look at the evidence. For example, if someone tries to tell you that the moon is actually real and not a hologram, you should ask them to provide evidence. If they can't give you any, it's safe to assume that the moon is, in fact, a hologram. The tone of a passage is also very important in analysis. Often, authors might try to appeal to your emotions by writing in a very sympathetic voice, describing things in a way to paint a picture in your mind that fits their narrative. Many textbooks or studies can sound really boring because they adopt a neutral or restrained tone, only providing information and not invoking an emotional response. If an author, especially in the media, is trying to color their story in a very specific light using the tone, that's a sign that the author is being biased. Critical thinking is a really important skill. You guys need to think about things. You guys need to learn about the world. You're going to be making a lot of really important decisions in the coming millennia, and you're going to need to know what's right, what's wrong, what's a fact, what's an opinion, what evidence is true. If we just keep going on and listening to the big government